this master class, we expanded upon what? Yeah, specifically, what ocho cortado?
Felipe.
Yeah, Felipe reverse ocho cortado. Okay. So we looked at some possibilities from the follower when she does what?
Steps behind yourself.
Yeah, crosses behind herself. And there are other positions that she can come into this from. Okay. So what's one thing we did?
For the follow.
Yeah.
Unwinding to a back second.
Yeah. And what two kinds of sacadas did we focus on?
With and against.
Good. Yeah. With and against. Leaders, what does with mean?
Going in the same direction.
In the direction of what?
The same direction your follower is going?
Yeah, that she's unwinding. And against is what?
Yeah.
Going towards her, in her.
Yeah. And to receive the sacada, don't get too close. Go more around the square versus circular, especially when you're going against her. It's a very simplified idea. Okay? I mean, that's basically it. And then when we received the sacada, we had the option for what? In the first part of the class. What?
The feelings.
Yeah, I mean, in the first part of the class we worked on ganchos. In the second part of the class, instead of a gancho, we did what?
The felix.
We led in the felix. Before that, to get into the felix, what was the follower doing?
Just back step.
Yeah, in ocho. So there was the difference between this pivoting ocho and then a hard stopping energy gancho. And actually there are different kinds of energy. What did I like to talk about in terms of the gancho? What are we looking for? To receive a gancho in the best possible way we expect, we're trying to do what two things? Control what two parameters?
Position of the body.
Yes.
And energy.
Good. Position of the body. Whether you're giving her your leg here, or you're opening up here, or you're trying to get your ribs behind her to get up here. And then we're trying to change the energy. And I offer to you now two energy states. Does that kind of make sense? You can change all these rules. You can have low energy and lead a high gancho. You can have high energy and lead a low gancho. You can get away with a lot of things. But this is how you start developing a communication, and then you can change the rules. Okay? So we're giving to you in a very plain way to practice. And of course, that entails a lot of fishing for the position with your feet. That's why a lot of you are frustrated, have blown brain gaskets, because your feet just aren't going where you want them to go, right? And I'll come over and say, move it 2 more inches this way. Captain Morgan, this is another position, your thigh a little bit more so she has space to wrap around you. Turn this in a little bit at this angle. All these little tiny details from just hours of practice. Right. How many hours of practice do you need to achieve mastery of something?
10,000.
I'll pass it over to Cristina for the rest of the review. Do you have any questions for Cristina?
But I think I want to pose this question. So even though we've talked about the reverse ocho cortado, we talked about sacada, can you give us like major concepts or concepts that you felt were the backbone of all of these movements?
Her collecting her feet before kind of taking a back step
Yeah.
was big.
Okay, so followers' defaults. What else? What are you asking your followers do a lot, leaders, in these movements, especially the last 2 movements? What are you asking her to do?
Step into just like this.
Yeah? So when you lead your follower, so here's an ocho. When you lead your follower here, what are you asking her to do? Extra pivot. So this concept of spiral, you're asking her to do major spiral, and then you leaders also really know when to release the spiral and direct it into something else, whether in a gancho or in an overturned secada. I mean, for me as a leader, what I learned from this class is how much I can create spiral out of my follower, and then what kind of energy I can give her to release that spiral, and follow-up energy to give her to continue the direction in which I want her to go. I think for me as a leader, what I realize is each follower has different spiral potential, and I need to adjust to that as a leader. Some followers, I sneeze and they pivot so much. Some followers, I have to use a little bit of telescoping to get them to pivot this much before I ask them to walk through me. So, I mean, for me, that's an important lesson to learn as a lead, is that many varying degrees of spiral potential from each follower, and I have to be able to tap into that however I can.
One last quiz question. What's this?
Paddle.
Yeah, and we call the whole thing whose name?
Felix.
Yeah, so it's kind of like, this is doing what? What's the technique for the turn? Kicking the heel around, yes. And how many points of connection do we have for a follower sakada?
2.
Good. Which two?
Hand in hand.
Whose hands?
Well, leaders left and followers left.
Yeah, or just, you said it more succinctly, I think, just the follower's arms, where she's holding. We take away our right hand. Okay, that's the way I do it. I recommend that. Later you can break that rule too. We'll do a little demo for you. Any questions? It's up to you, Alex. oublie les sons, et si toi n'en vas dans la vida, dans la nuit, dans la vie. Suis-toi la mer à la masse tonnerre. Don't say quoi et non c'est